If there is anyone out there who still doubts that America is a place where all things are possible, tonight is your answer.
It's difficult to imagine the immense pressures that come on anyone who sits in the Oval Office. What's really important is how you respond to those pressures. That is really the question about how his presidency plays out.
You know, I think you have to start by remembering that how unusual this is. This is a man who 4 years ago was a state senator in Illinois. He wasn't the junior senator in the United States Senate from Illinois. He was in the state Senate of Illinois. He is now a guy who is getting higher approval ratings than any new president since Ronald Reagan took office.
He spoke of himself as kind of a tabula rasa, a blank slate on which some people will inscribe their own dreams.
We have been through tougher times than this, and each time we have risen up to the challenge.
You hear people talk about how he feels to them like something of a regular guy who suddenly became president.
He chose to live in Hyde Park, which is a very diverse community, a very down-to-earth community. So there's something about him that wanted to be in a place where it wasn't about arrogance, and that where ideas matter.
It'll be interesting to see how he continues that from his earliest days in politics to the presidency.
The single most pressing issue that Barack Obama faces as president, bar none, is the economy. And the stimulus plan that he pushes through in the early days of his presidency will probably be the defining product of his presidency.
If you look at their to-do list in the Obama world right now, and they'll tell you this, that it's, items 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all the economy.
And this crisis provides the opportunity for us, as I would say, the opportunity to do things that you could not do before.
None of this was really on the horizon for these guys 4, 6, 8 months ago. The way we're talking about them was healthcare and climate change and doing good stuff for regular Americans on tax cuts. And every day that they spend on that near-term agenda, the economy, market rescue, have it overhaul financial market regulation, every day they spend on that is a day they don't spend on climate change.
Barack Obama is rightly focused on domestic policy and economic policy, but there are a significant number of foreign policy problems that could rise up and redirect his presidency. He has to bring some resolution to the situation in Iraq. He has to deal with a very messy situation in Afghanistan and Pakistan next door. He has a Middle East crisis that he will walk into right off the bat. Any one of those things has the ability to hijack his administration.
When Obama first chose Biden as his running mate, the assumption was that he was going to become the dominant foreign policy voice of the administration. But then immediately after the election, Obama named such a high-powered foreign policy team with Hillary Clinton that it does raise a question of whether Biden is going to be a big player in those areas.
You know, I think to some extent it says the Clinton model of engagement is probably something of the model for the Obama administration, particularly on the Middle East. I mean, and you have to remember that Bill Clinton spent a huge chunk of his last 6 months in office trying to solve the Israeli-Palestinian problem and trying in a way that President Bush never did.
One of the things that comes out of Obama's early appointments is that he wants a very strong White House. He's put some very powerful people on his White House staff.
Star power resides in the White House, and not just in Barack Obama's office, but in all these offices surrounding his office. So I think there's going to be some friction. There's going to be friction internally. There's going to be friction between a Democratic White House and a Democratic Congress. I think that's inevitable. The issue for Obama is not can you avoid friction, it's can you manage the friction.
And one thing that was extremely impressive about his campaign, in contrast with the Clinton campaign, the McCain campaign, and large-scale campaigns in general, was that he was able to keep egos in check.
Just watching the way he interacts with his senior team, you can see it's a collaboration. There's mutual respect, mutual listening back and forth. It's not one person dominating the conversation and dictating.
He has this one quality that is the ability to listen to, or at least appear to be listening to, every word you're saying and absorbing it, whether or not he's going to wind up agreeing with it.
Now, it has to be said that we don't have any legislation yet. We haven't had the actual battles being fought yet. And I think we have to see when the battles really intensify just how close that cooperation will be.
But the truth is, at the end of the day, even our best presidents only get one or maybe two of their major policy goals through during a single term. For Barack Obama, the first is clearly the economy. He has to get the stimulus bill enacted. It has to begin to work. We have to see some signs that the economy is turning around in the next few years. If he can add to that one more major policy accomplishment, maybe it's healthcare, maybe it's energy. If he does that, he won't have fulfilled everybody's expectations. He won't have met everybody's goals. But at the end of the day, you'll have to say he's a successful president.